morning everyone. I am Dr. Nidhi Deouskar, and in this session we will discuss an important subject of human resource management, which is organizational behavior. In our last session we discussed about what do we mean by organization, why do they exist, what do we mean by behavior, and what are the factors contributing to behavior of human beings. In this session, let's begin with understanding the levels of organizational behavior in the organization. Basically, OB is studied at different levels. First is the individual level, the group level, and organizational level. Organizational behavior actually tries to integrate the various individuals and group in the organization. Then it tries to understand what do they do, how do they do, and it tries to study human behavior in the organization. So, this is the structure of OB. The core elements of OB are people, structure, technology, environment, and when they are nicely cohesively integrated, we get perfect picture of organization. We should understand why should we study OB. It serves three purposes. First of all, we study OB to understand organizational events, what actually is happening in the organization, what are the dynamics of organization. Then we try to influence organizational events. And third is we try to predict organizational events. So, if these three purposes we are able to fulfill, then the purpose of OB is fulfilled. Let us understand what do we understand by organizational events. There are so many things happening in organization. For example, conflict, employee turnover, low productivity, then strikes, leadership changes, resistance to change, team success or failure, etc. So, we need to understand, OB actually helps us to understand the reasons of conflict, the reasons of employee turnover, why there is low productivity, why workers are going on strike, what is happening what will happen when the management changes, why is there resistance to change, and so many things. After understanding the events of organization, then we wish to influence them. We wish to encourage the desired events and we wish to discourage the undesired events. So, OB influences organizational events by shaping employees' attitude, behavior, interaction, which directly affects workplace outcomes. So, we try to carve the desired behavior in the individuals. Then OB also wishes to predict organizational events. OB helps in predicting organizational events and how do they do it? By studying patterns of human behavior at individual, group and organizational levels. By understanding these patterns, managers can anticipate future outcomes and take preventive or corrective actions. So, organizational events may include employee turnover, absenteeism, conflict, productivity changes, resistance to change or team performance. If suppose absenteeism is increasing in our organization, then the HR people, they should understand the reason behind it and what it may lead to. For example, Google uses people analytics to boost well-being. Tesla's reliance on cross-functional engineering teams for innovation. They actually encourage cross-functional engineering teams so that different types of brains, they work on a common problem. And startups, they use flat hierarchy for agility because as we have discussed that in flat organization we have span of control is more and in tall organization span of control is less. So, these are the main motives of organizational behavior: to understand the organization, to influence the organizational events, and to predict. Now let's understand one case study, so that cases in management, they are very important. They actually give you a simulation of the actual corporate situation, and you have to implement what you have learned in your class, the theory, into practice. So let's see this short case. The case is about Tech Corp. It is a mid-size IT firm. Rohini is a high-performing developer and has consistently exceeded targets for 2 years and assumed informal leadership roles. The situation: when a team lead position opened, management hired Kaustubh, an external candidate with fewer technical accomplishments but better networking skills, and Rohini was not interviewed. So you can imagine what Rohini must have felt. The behavioral outcome. What happened? In the coming days, Rohini's productivity dropped by 40%. She stopped sharing ideas in the meeting. Morale in her team dipped, and 2 other juniors began looking for new jobs. So you can see that a minor flaw in the recruitment process or in the policy of organization may result to a disastrous outcome. One very good employee and 2 employees, they are already planning to leave the organization. So this is a major loss. This is a classic case of organization behavior. Were they able to understand the organizational events? Were they able to influence the organizational events? Or were they able to predict organizational events? So clearly, organizational behavior study was missing in this case. How should management handle Rohini's drop in performance? As we discussed, that proper study of organizational behavior was missing in this organization. They did not anticipate that this action would result into a major HR turnover. Basically, what they might have done, you can also think on your side, what they might have done, there should have been more transparency of the policy. She should have been told that this position will be filled only by somebody coming from outside, and there should have been more transparency in the process. So dissatisfaction would have been reduced. So this is what OB does. It tries to prevent things, undesirable behavior. Now what is the role of organizational behavior? So taking this case as a base, we will be able to relate. Organizational behavior theories, what do? They serve as a roadmap for leaders and managers to improve their various aspects of organization, such as finding the right employee. Organizational behavior, OB plays an important role in finding the right employee by helping organization understand human behavior, attitude, abilities required for different jobs. Best fit employee is very, very crucial for organizational success. And how do they do it? Finding the person job fit by finding person organization fit, whether the person will be best fit for the job and whether the person will be best fit for the organization itself. Understanding their attitude, their personality, and this will enhance team compatibility. This is what organizational behavior does. It ensures job satisfaction. In the case we saw that Rohini was apparently dissatisfied. OB helps improve job satisfaction by creating a positive work environment. It helps in motivating employees. It helps in ensuring fairness, transparency as we discussed, and strengthening leadership and communication. It is achieved by understanding employee needs, what they actually want, improving work environment which should be conducive to what they want to do, reducing workplace conflicts, and encouraging effective leadership, etc. Understanding employee in a better way. OB also helps in developing organization culture, which is very, very important. And what organizational culture means? It refers to the system of shared values, means large number of people, they share the same value system. It becomes culture of organization. And practices that guide how employees think and act. This is done by understanding human behavior, and they promote shared values, influencing leadership so that the culture remains intact. Every organization has its own culture, has its own personality, and the new employee, he has to abide by the cultural rules. Then OB also helps in building a good team. A good team is one where members cooperate, they communicate effectively and work towards common goals. As we discussed, that nobody in the organization works in isolation. Everybody has to be a team member. And a good team will be which performs to its best. And by achieving points discussed above, we will surely build a strong team culture in our organization. OB also helps in developing great leaders, ensuring higher productivity and promoting innovation. Definitely, when people in the organization, they are satisfied, they are the best fit for the job, then the environment is conducive and the team is very cooperative, definitely innovation will be there, productivity will be high, and there will be a positive work environment. So we have seen that study of organization behavior is so important for organizational effectiveness. Now let's understand foundation of OB. What are the factors that have contributed in the development of the subject organizational behavior? First is individual differences. Each person in the world is different from all others. This is a major concept behind organizational behavior. No person is similar to anyone. Each person in the world is different from all others. Individual differences refer the variation among people in terms of personality, abilities, attitudes, perception, values and behavior. So they all are different in these terms. In organizational behavior, it means that no two employees are exactly alike. It means that every employee is unique, and understanding these differences help organizations manage people more effectively. So that is why managing people is so different from managing robots, because robots, they all are same, but human beings, they all are different. Wipro, for example, focuses on skill development and performance-based reward. Like if they all are coming from different background and they all are working in the organization, they all have different competency level. So if company provides proper skill development program, training and development, then they will be able to perform at par with the other employees, and which in turn will contribute to their motivational level. Then another concept of OB is a whole person. A person's family life cannot be separated from his or her work life. The whole person concept means that an employee is not just a worker, but a complete human being. He has his own emotions, his attitude, his values, his personal life and social background. In other words, organizations must treat employees as complete individual and not just job performers. So whenever a person is coming for work in the organization, he is not coming only as a job performer, but he is coming as a whole person. This has to be kept in mind. Only then we will be able to understand his behavior. Individual brings to the workplace what all things? He may bring his own personal problems, he may bring his emotions, feelings, values, belief, his skill, knowledge, social and family background. And therefore, all these factors influence their behavior and performance at work. If he is not happy going back home, so he will bring that sadness and that tension to his work the next day. And that is why companies these days, they are focusing on holistic development of employees to get 100% output from them. Infosys also promotes participative management and continuous learning. This also adds to their self-esteem. This makes them happy about themselves. This makes them a better team player, and hence it contributes to the productivity also. Next point is caused behavior. OB says that the behavior of employee is caused and it is not random. Why a person is behaving in this way? There has to be a strong reason for that. The concept of caused behavior means the human behavior does not happen randomly. Every behavior has a reason or cause behind it. And if we are able to understand the cause behind the behavior, we'll be able to understand why the person is behaving that way. We'll be able to control that behavior, or we'll be able to encourage that behavior also. In other words, people behave in a certain way because of some specific internal or external factors. For example, an employee works hard. Why? Because they want promotion. A worker resists change. Why? Because they fear uncertainty. An employee is absent for a long time. Why? Because low job satisfaction. He is having low job satisfaction. So, if we want to check on these behaviors, then we have to understand the cause. Worker resists change due to fear of uncertainty. So, if we are able to provide proper training and development to the worker, and he is comfortable working on the newly introduced technology, he will not resist any change. So, that behavior is sorted. Employee is absent. The absenteeism has increased. And why it has increased? Because job satisfaction is low. So, let us find out why workers are not happy in the organization. Let us rectify the problems they are facing. So, automatically absenteeism will be solved. So, instead of punishing him for being absent, we have to understand the cause. Why is he behaving in that way, so that this problem is uprooted forever. Another important factor is human dignity, on which this OB subject is developed. Human dignity, it confirms that people are to be treated differently from other factors of production. Human dignity, other factors of production means human beings, they are different from inventory, they are different from machine, they are different from material. They need to be treated in a different way. Human dignity means that every individual deserves respect, fairness and ethical treatment in the workplace, regardless of position or status. This is what organization behavior talks about. In organization behavior, it emphasizes that employees are valuable human beings, not just tools, or they are not just resources. And if we are able to respect the dignity of a person, then his motivational level will increase, his self-esteem will increase, and he will be very positive towards his work. The concept of human dignity is based on belief like every person has intrinsic worth, irrespective of the level at which he is working. Employees should be treated with respect and fairness. Workers should not be exploited or humiliated. There has to be some reason for the behavior shown by the management or the behavior shown by the workers. Ethical treatment is essential in the organization. If at all workers feel or employees feel that they are being exploited or the treatment is not ethical, their motivation level will go down and their productivity level will go down. And we do not want this, because it is the humans who work in the organization. For example, the Tata Group emphasizes on ethical values. They are known for ethical values, employee welfare, they are employee centric organization, and trust and values human dignity. And what is the result they get? strong employee loyalty and brand reputation. Next point, next element that contributes to the foundation of OB is organizations are social system, and by implying that their activities are governed by social and psychological laws. The concept of organizations are social systems means the organization are made up of people who interact with one another and work together to achieve common goals. They are not just physical structures or machines, but networks of human relations. Whenever there are people working, so they have their own dynamics, and these dynamics, we need to recognize them. What do we understand by social system? A social system has individuals, then it has groups, individuals working in groups, then there are relationships, then there are shared norms and values, and then there is a communication pattern. So, all these factors, they make a social system, and all these factors, they are present in the organization, and therefore we say that organization are social system. So, we just don't need to work on individual skills, skill upgradation, training and development. No, we have to deal with the group performance also, the group dynamics also, the interaction within the group also, their communication pattern also, their value system, their norms, and only then we will get the group work in the best possible way. Next point is mutuality of interest. This is very important. OB recognizes that organization need people and people also need organizations. There is a mutuality of interest. It is not that just the people need organization. Organizations, they also need people. Otherwise, who is going to work there? Mutuality of interest means that both the organization and its employees depend on each other to achieve their goals. Their interests are interconnected and must be aligned for success. That is the mutuality of interest, and therefore, if we are able to strike a balance between the organization and individual, then we get the best result. Then there is a holistic concept. Another foundation is the holistic concept. What do we mean by that? People in the organizations, they are expressed in terms of whole person, as we have discussed earlier also, whole group, whole organization and whole social system. Here basically we are recognizing the fact that individual will behave in a different way. When he becomes a part of the group, he will behave in a different way. When he becomes a part of the organization, he will behave in a different way. Whole social system. The holistic concept in organizational behavior, it means that an organization should be viewed as the whole system, not just the separate parts. It considers the interaction between individuals, groups, structure, technology and environment together. We cannot say that in the organization there are different departments like marketing department, production department, HR department, and we cannot work in isolation with all these departments. If anything happens in one department, the ripples are felt in the whole of organization. So therefore, that integration of the work, integration of department is always there, and that is the holistic concept. So we cannot make sure that we have just worked on the working environment of this department, so I should expect I have worked on the working environment of production department, so I should expect good output from them, so our productivity will rise. It is not like that, because the production department is related, is integrated with all other departments, and therefore that synergy should be there. In simple terms, everything in an organization is interconnected. They are interconnected. A change in one part affects other parts also. Therefore, managers must consider the total system while making decisions. Whatever policy decisions they have, whatever they come up, whatever decisions they come up, they should keep this in mind that it is going to affect the whole of organization. It cannot be exclusively for certain part. Then another point is need for management. Management uses the knowledge about OB for organizational effectiveness. We have understood that the knowledge about organizational behavior is so important for organizational effectiveness. In the case only, we saw how a faulty policy resulted into decreased in motivation, and how it was bad for the organizational effectiveness. So therefore, understanding OB is very important for organizational effectiveness. So basic process of OB, if we want to say in nutshell, is first is understanding. Understanding how things function in the organization and how people are interrelated. This is what we have to understand. That is the basic process. First point, understanding. Then by understanding how things are happening in organization, we would like to predict them. So prediction, what patterns of behavior are present? These days HR analytics are used for such prediction. What is the cause and effect relationship? What is the cause and what is the effect it will bring, and how to have a control over cause and effect relationship? This is the basic study that we do in OB. And then is the controlling. What solutions are possible? We have understood the system, we will be able to predict the system also. Now, are we able to control it also? What solutions are possible? Which variables can be influenced, and how can they be influenced in order to have a better working environment in the organization? So therefore, understanding OB helps us to understand the process, predict the process, and influence the process, influence events happening in the organization. So therefore, OB is very important for organizational effectiveness. That's all for this session. Thank you.